It's the end of the day. It's time to close up shop. However, something tells you to stay back for a bit. For the next hour or two, you'll be staying after hours. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Devil After Hours podcast. And Lady Gaga likes burning things, just like her career after Joker 2.
Nah. She came out arguably some of the most unscathed out of any of these people.
Yeah. It's interesting to say.
Yeah.
What a segue.
I don't like this movie. Anyways, hi, I'm Aaron Gresser, and I'm joined today by Charles Robinson.
What's up, losers? I dragged my friends to see Jonkler 2, Let There Be Cringe, and they're pissed at me.
I did the same thing, Charlie. My name is Brice, and I went to the theater less than 24 hours ago and hated my life ever since.
No, my friends, I made you guys watch this for the podcast. I watched this thing completely alone.
Oh, I meant I dragged my friend to the theaters, and he was like, yeah, sweet, let's watch it. He sits down next to me, and I go, get ready for the worst movie you've ever seen. And he goes, what? He didn't know.
It's funny.
Speaking of funny, Shane Siegel.
Hey, everybody. Shane Siegel here. I saw this movie. When I got there, everybody was there. Halfway through the movie, 90% of people left.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You had a
lot of people left.
That's crazy.
And as I was leaving the theater, I overheard people asking the people at the counters for refunds.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
really?
One of my friends who also works at a movie theater was talking to us and telling us, "Hey, I've been getting a lot of people asking for refunds for the Joker movie and stuff, and it's crazy. People just did not like it."
That's crazy. Madam Web didn't have this kind of level of hate. That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
It is.
Madam Web wasn't a sucky musical made in a basement.
You're right. It was a sucky blockbuster made in a production studio.
Yes.
So the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Same diff. There you go.
Madam Web is still worse, by the way, guys, but we'll get into it. Did you watch Madam Web?
I watched it in theaters, yeah.
Really?
You have the Dune popcorn cup.
No, I didn't.
Well, then his opinion's invalid. I don't know what to tell him.
I am not gonna say okay. Anyways, moving forward.
Something that requires a Dune popcorn bucket to enjoy, because God forbid you're not enjoying yourself any other way. The Joker 2, Joker Folie, Deux, however you want to pronounce it. Guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. This movie is not very good. Hold on, they need a little.
What a segue, Charlie. Props to you on that.
That was just on the top of your head. That's what scares me. That was front of your mind. Let's go with this. Let's jonk my lure in the studio.
There's a combined decade worth of friendship in this call, and you guys are still surprised. That's how I know I'm doing something right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Props to you, Charlie.
Keeping it fresh.
But listen, gang. We'll keep it a buck. This movie, not very good. Everything you've heard is pretty much true. It's not a good movie. It's a disappointing sequel. It is a musical, and it's not a good one, which really sucks because I think superhero musicals could make for very interesting ideas. But unfortunately, I think this is going to be the last time we get one of these for a while because this movie was that bad. But anyway, we'll get aside from that. And Shane ran out his door for whatever reason, and
just like the people at the theater.
I was trying not to point it out or laugh.
Yeah, he was doing his best theater impression there. But anyway, he's what's he?
What are you doing?
Sorry, I had to take some pills.
In preparation for a pregame?
Shane, I gave us a pep talk, hey guys, let's do stuff that doesn't require visuals to understand. And then he just ran out and did that.
I took some milk.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
All right, guys. So we all know what we do here by now. Before we jump into the wheel, the nega wheel, the why so wheeliest, we all know. Or wheel so serious. That's a little better. But before we jump into that, we got to give our quick roundtable thoughts. And Aaron, Jack, my man, you got to talk about this sexy movie with your sexy little voice, you sexy little baby. You got to figure it out.
Oh yeah. I hate this thing. I hate it. I don't like it. Oh my god. So the original, which by the way, go listen to that episode. It was phenomenal.
Exactly. Simple plug.
Good time on that episode. And mostly because that movie was actually really good. Yeah. And then they said, you know what? It came to him in a dream. Let's make Joker 2 a musical. I'm going to level with you. I'm not a big musical guy. I'm not a big musical guy. And this had a lot of that. And you took Joker and you did that with it. And I don't like it. And there's just so many things wrong that we're going to get to. So I'm just going to keep it brief here because I know we got to get moving here. I don't like it. Me no like. Bryce?
Okay. So there's never been a movie that I've loved more than Joker 2, and I haven't had dinner yet. One of these statements is a lie. Can you decide which one it is? I'll give you a hint. I did not like Joker. I hated this movie with everything within me. I actually am willing to say it is the worst movie I've ever watched. I hated this thing so bad.
He's fuming.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the Fume Fest.
Oh.
It's beginning.
Oh, you get ready.
2024.
You get ready.
Yeah.
Later on, when we get more in depth, I will share every single hate-filled opinion that I possess within my soul right now.
This is like what's going. I feel like I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just imagining like Bryce on a date, like it's a first date, and like she randomly like noticed like, oh hey, like do you like movies or whatever? It's like, yeah, I just watched Joker 2. Oh really? What'd you think about it? And like this whole podcast used to be Bryce like ruining the date by just screaming at her everything he doesn't like about this movie to high heavens.
That's something I would do too.
So can I pick you up at 8 next week? No? Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Pick it up and
just leave my number if you can, and just don't talk to me.
No.
she gives the number to a mental health line.
Yeah. Get you on the first bus there.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm going to Arkham.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryce, you're gonna need a lobotomy tonight.
He's going to the Asylum.
Hey, I can pull out the scrubs. I can give you a lobotomy. In fact, I can
Shut up
give you
about your scrubs. I'll scrub you, boy.
Shane, you're so obsessed with touching people. Like, you just need to stop.
Hey, not in that way.
Hey, bro, come on.
Really?
Get out the clouds. You can't only be thinking about head and brain, bro. Come on. Come on.
I'm not saying anything.
Well, you have to give your side of the story, Shane. You gotta tell
better
me
say
something.
I went in thinking this movie was going to be good. It'll be like the first one. And I remember seeing the first one with my dad, and we made a tradition to see the second one together. It's
not a tradition. It's not a tradition.
No. After seeing the Joker, I told my dad.
He just denied it. It's not a tradition. No.
Okay, can I continue?
I don't know, man. I understood what you were trying to say, but like, I think they're laughing.
Yeah. I'm gonna let the two, like the little two cuckoo birds just keep laughing it up. For me, I thought it was gonna be good, but at the end, I didn't. That's all I have to say.
Hard-hitting analysis there from Shane Patrick Siegel. Thank you.
Thank you. I tried so hard.
But anyway, gang. So we've established pretty much from the get-go, we don't like this movie. You can figure that out on the fact we've said it 10 times. But gang,
Yeah.
you know why you're here. You want to hear us rip this thing to shreds.
Yeah.
And there's only really one way we can start. We will spin the wheel later.
That wheel.
Yeah.
We will spin the wheel, but we got to start with
Yeah.
our time-honored tradition.
Which
We got to give a look. We got to give the quick synopsis.
I love how we said, you know what, we're not going to do quick synopsis first anymore. And guys, now it's back. Nothing's changed.
It's so after end of Evangelion, it was just too funny not to do.
Yeah.
Like that episode, like I still think end of Evangelion, that 40-minute spiel that I gave where I was just like yelling about this plot was one of the funniest things we've ever recorded, radio show or podcast otherwise. And I think there's only one way to truly encapsulate how mad we're going to get about this. And we got to go through this beat by beat.
Yeah.
So we will get to other segments on the wheel later. They are coming. But first, we gotta go through this thing. So we get the first opening scene. We get a Looney Tunes style animated short about the Joker and a shadow. The whole bit is, Arthur and the Joker are two different people. You all know that's stupid because you watched the first movie, presumably, unless you raw dogged this movie with no context. Which, by the way, good for you. I'm sorry for you.
My friend that I went with did.
Oh,
What
I'm
a
sorry.
Didn't see the first one.
Anyway, what a poor soul. But anyway, so we get the Looney Tunes animated short, which, weird plot stuff aside, is actually very well animated. I was honestly like, I had no idea this was coming, so I saw it and I was like, this is really cool. Like, this is something that I think kind of worked based on the themes of the last movie. Like, this felt like it fit. It was a very interesting way to open it. I was a fan. And we get the next scene where it's all about Arthur being sad in prison. Oh, boo! And
He's not a happy boy.
he's not a happy boy. Because he used to tell jokes to the guards for cigarettes, and now he doesn't. At least not at this point. And he's waltzing around in the prison, and he's all sad, and he makes out with the guy because he gay joke. It's the '60s or whatever this is, and they're goofing and memeing around, and they're walking through the prison, and they see, and it's not even Joker sees, not even Joker chooses this. We'll get into why I think that's a problem later. But Harley Quinn, out of nowhere, she comes out of the choir room they walk past and does like the stupid like finger gun thing on her head.
That
and
the
he's like,
girl in the first movie did in the elevator. That's what I noticed.
Exactly, and it's like, and he looks at her. It's like, the girl,
Head over heels.
woman.
Bro literally zinged like in Hotel Transylvania.
Hotel Transformers. Autobots. We are at the Marriott.
Autobots, check out.
Autobots, we're at the Marriott.
Autobots.
That's the
Marriott.
Bumblebee. Why
Dude,
do you
I'm
need
so
room
to go
service?
to the Marriott here in Holland. Just for fun.
RC, did you just order an adult film? You have to pay for those. But anyway,
Anyways, besides
Get
all
room
about our
service.
little tangent there, Charlie, continue with your quick synopsis.
so listen, gang. So after, Joker reacts to the plot, which is tradition, we get like a scene or whatever, and it's like, oh man, Joker, you like to sing, right? You'd be great for singing. I'm going to check you in. Does Joker choose to check in? No. Does he choose to seek out music? No. You're going to see this as a running problem. Joker doesn't choose anything. But anyway, look, aside from a couple things. But again, we'll get to it. So eventually he shingles his way into the freaking choir room, and the choir teacher is like, hey, music is a beautiful thing. It can be used to experience emotions, blah, 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 blah. Basically kind of giving his thesis to why music is in this movie. It's from the fact that the music is not good in this movie, but we'll get to it. And, they're singing along, and Harley's like, singing with him or whatever. It's like, oh man, I wonder if they're going to make out. And freaking they're talking outside like the room or whatever afterwards. And he's just like, I killed people, including my mother, but no one knows that. Ooh. And then she's like, I grew up in the same neighborhood you did. I was like, shut up.
Shut up, woman.
Just shut up. But anyway. We get that funny little freaking scene, and like I know like I'm kind of blazing through a little bit because we are getting some other pieces. We're like, oh, he goes to a therapy session with another therapist, and she's asking, did it go white? Do you remember? And Joker obviously like, which is the weirdest thing, because Joker clearly remembers everything he did. That's not up for debate. He knows it all. And he's like, dooba-da-booba-da-booba-da-boo, dooba-da-booba-da-booba-da-boo. And like, kind of like, it's just these scenes are so slow where you can kind of like speed them up. Like, I get trying to like hesitate or hold on something, but like, gang, this is a 2-hour movie and you can genuinely cut a half an hour of all like the stuttering. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that bad. So it's why I'm not doing this movie service, and I'm just going to blaze through it. So, he goes to the therapy session, whoop-de-whoop-de-doo, And eventually, you know, we get to a scene where they're freaking all like, oh, let's watch a movie. Okay. And somehow Harley gets like a lighter or something.
She got a box of matches.
Whatever. She gets like a Playboy and like burns like something down or whatever. Yippee. And everything's burning and everyone's running around. And Harley's like, I did it for you, Joker. Now we can escape. And they do their little musical sequence. This is the second one. I know I skipped the first one because I don't care enough. But like, we get these musical sequences where like, oh man, I'm going to court. Like the first one is like Joker goes to like learns he's gonna go to court and have a trial or whatever
against Harvey
on the
Dent.
TV. Against Harvey Dent, the best Batman villain. Don't at me. But you know, but he learns and he does a nice little singy song in his head. He sings to the guards, and then reality strikes, and he wasn't singing. Wow. And you know, we get a nice little cute little shot of this one guy in the back, like, I don't like that this guy exists. Keep in mind, that'll come in later.
Yeah, for
this
all
one
3
shot of this
seconds
one
he was shown. I counted.
This one random evil guy going, I don't like you, juggler.
I have evil intentions.
I have a stupid haircut that makes me look like I kicked out of a bar. But anyway,
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
How tough am I? I ate a bowl of meals for breakfast this morning.
How tough am I? I watched Joker 2 for breakfast.
Without any milk.
Oh my god!
I stubbed my toe last week, and I'll have you know I only cried for 20 minutes.
But guys, the second musical sequence, they're singing outside. Arkham's burning. Oh no! And they try to climb the fence. Oh no! And it doesn't work, and they get dragged back down. But they're obsessed with each other. They're in love. Keep in mind, this is one of the only couple scenes which establish the bond. Can you tell that I'm kind of pissed? But anyway, gang. So later, we get a freaking stupid little scene where Joker is like talking to a guy who interviews him inside the prison. And guess what? Joker repeats everything he's heard through the therapy session. Wow, real inventive. And he starts yelling at the guy saying, it's your fault. Society. Grr. Everything you've heard about the first movie. Back again with no new twist. Can you tell I'm a little pissed? So,
Just a tad.
you know, and
Really,
he
you're
starts... dude, I'm pissing my pants. But and he starts singing. He starts singing to the judge. He starts singing to the reporter. Goody. And keep in mind, this is I'll save some of this for the musical sequences, but he starts singing to the reporter, and the way it's shot, and the way it's kind of foretold to us, it's kind of implying that I think the singing happened in the real world. Like, it's weird, right? Because we keep going to what I like to call the musical reality, where they sing stuff and establish stuff about the plot, but some of their actions don't inherently direct the plot. We've all seen a musical. We know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Here's the problem. Your entire movie is about psychoanalysis. It's about deconstructing the action of the characters because people are trying to manipulate each other. And that becomes very hard to pinpoint when half of the things that happen are in these musical dream sequences that you don't know exactly what part of them is canon or not. Some of them are very obvious. This one's not. And we get a scene where Harley Quinn, who's previously established by some other lawyer, like, hey, Harley, she didn't grow up in your neighborhood. She's a psychiatric doctor. She can just kind of come in whenever she wants. She doesn't care about you. Whatever. It's Lady Gaga. But anyway, and we get that whole thing established, and we get a shot where Harley is watching Joker sing his little bad heart out on a TV because the interview is being recorded or whatever because it's the trial of the century. And she steals the TV.
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Really, Harley?
Because funny.
Are you supposed to be some master manipulator? Mm-hmm. Some sort of evil genius who can bend all these characters to her will? And all of a sudden, you think it is your best interest to steal a TV in open public with multiple people watching. Can you tell I'm a little pissed?
You wanted to watch fantasy football. What do you expect?
I don't get it. and we're not even done with the first act yet. And I'm this mad because this movie keeps shoving its plot holes up your freaking nose and just it just refuses to let go.
No.
But I digress. So she steals the TV. We've all been there. We all 20, but they steal the TV and we cut back to Joker and they're all mad at him because oh no, he sang on the TV. He did something wrong. And they throw him in the freaking hole. They throw him in like the solitary confinement eventually.
Wait, hold on. I thought that was what they did after he tried to escape. I think you got this a little out of order. I think they threw him in the hole after he tried to escape.
Right. You're absolutely right. I was so mad I forgot a sequence.
I was about to say, I was like, it's not that you forgot it because we talked about the attempted escape. I think you just got it a little out of order.
I just jumped to one scene ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, because
I hate to be control.
Anyway, but he's thrown in solitary confinement. Oh no. And eventually Harley, like sneaks in or whatever,
Somehow. Gets
into like this. Exactly. It's like I get like she's a doctor or whatever, but like she has that much access to the prison. Okay, and she goes into like the cell Joker's in, and they're happy to see each other or whatever, and they just have sex, like just gross prison sex, just grody.
Raw
Against
dog.
the gross wet wall, done in 10 seconds, prison sex.
Yeah, okay, funny thing about that scene. My friend had went to the bathroom right before it, and he walked back in, and as he sat down and looks back up at the screen, that scene started, and he looks at me and he goes, "Why did you bring me to this?"
Listen, someone out there was aroused. I don't know, man. Like, someone out there just really wanted to see Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga just go bazonkers. I don't know, man. This movie was made for someone.
Oh,
Maybe
the really weird thing of Arthur Fleck asking Harley to take his pants off for him, that was also uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of this part of the movie feels like. It's just like, and I get like, I'm not trying to say a movie can't be uncomfortable. Obviously, we like the first one because it's uncomfortable. But that level of uncomfortable came from a place of, oh, like, it felt set up. I'm sorry. I don't think Joker and Harley had a deep enough bond to establish the fact they were going to bang in a prison cell. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like we wasted so much time already. And we haven't even wasted the most time yet. But anyway, so they bang in a prison cell. We've all been there. We've all been on a Friday night. But they freaking do that, and
so
eventually we get the interview scene that I just got done describing with the TV nonsense. I switched those around. Oops. So this is after the freaking interview scene with the freaking white guy or whatever, and eventually we freaking get to the actual like the trial. We actually get to like see the trial. We get to see what's happening here, and we get Harvey Dent. And as much as I love Harvey, he's my favorite Batman villain. I think he's the best one, but that's just me. And he doesn't do anything here. Like, obviously, like, he does stuff like, oh, he says words like, oh, he, like, disproves stuff. But it's like, this could have been any other guy. Like, this wasn't Two-Face. This wasn't Harvey. He doesn't have, like, that confidence that I expect from a Harvey. He was, like, so dull. He was just so boring. He was like every white guy who watched Suits and went, I could be that. Yeah.
There is a reason I think that they picked Harvey Dent, other than just trying to get a little name drop cameo to make Batman fans like scream.
I know Two-Face. I know that. Good movie. Yeah.
But I think it comes in a little later. So if you just keep explaining the plot, I'll jump back in.
I think I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
So keep going.
But which is still a stupid reason.
Oh,
but anyway.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, but keep going.
But anyway, so Harvey's there. He's like, Your Honor, this guy's kind of, what's saying. And he's like, you're right. And, they're bringing out witnesses to the stand. And this is this whole part of the movie. They're bringing out witnesses to the stand. And obviously, it's not going well because there's no new discussion on what Joker did. At least, mostly. It's just like, Jonkler killed a guy. That's bad. He wasn't faking it. Oops. And the whole time, the defendant's argument is that, I think there's a split personality here. And like the whole rest of the movie is like, no. It's like, okay. Gripping. Thanks.
Riveting.
Just absolutely. Which sucks. Because taking a supervillain to a trial should be like the coolest thing ever. Like you can like walk in backwards and make that interesting. But here, it's like, he's bad.
Yeah, no, I hated that. They felt like filler, and they felt like you learned more about random side characters and their stories than you did Joker or anything of a main character.
And also, it's like, it's not even that I hated all the information they conveyed. Like, they had the scene where, like, the neighbor was, like, saying, like, yeah, her mom made this really weird, like, dumb lie when he was a kid that he was born to make people smile, and he believed it. And it's like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool.
And then it played in later, Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Like, there's something of merit here, but it's, like, surrounded by so much sludge that it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And obviously, like, Joker is, like, frustrated or whatever. Like, he's frustrated as lawyer because he's mad or whatever. And Harley's frustrated the lawyer. It's like, we're going to build a mountain. What does that mean?
Yeah, they never established what that even meant. We're going to build a mountain out of a hill made no sense.
We're going to build a mountain. Good for you.
They made a whole song.
Rushmore. But, like... And like, we get that whole bit. And, like, he's talking to Harley in jail. Oh, or, like, we're talking to Harley behind the glass wall or whatever. Oh, yippee. And, like, Harley's like, I'm pregnant. It's like, what? It's like, okay. What?
Yeah.
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 Like, why? I mean, obviously, we know why. They had sex. Like, I don't need to explain that to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, like... why throw this in and it doesn't come up later?
Of course.
No.
These were just words.
Well, actually, it does, but not in any important way.
Substantial. But, like, she's like, I'm pregnant. And then they start, like, doing what I like to call, which I've kind of been ignoring for a lot of this runtime so far, but we'll go into it now, what I like to call wisp singing. Where it's not like a big extravagant musical sequence. It's just Joaquin Phoenix and whoever else is around him, like,
probably
just that, like that kind of singing, and that's most of the singing in this movie. And they do this dumb little sequence where it's like, I can't even tell you the song it was, I forgot, but like, and it's like. It goes on for way too long, and it's like, we get the point. They're in love. I'm not. I'm single, hopeless, and desperate for love. Screw you, Joaquin Phoenix. It's like, this is the basis of their bond. Like, they meant for these scenes to establish their deep little relationship. Ooh! Yeah. And guess what it doesn't do? Establish the relationship. Because it's not like they're singing original songs about their particular bond. They're singing, like, 50s and 60s pop songs, which normally I'd go, that's great. And there's a couple times it is kind of cool. But most of the time it feels like, we're not learning anything. They're just padding the runtime. Because if you're below a 2-hour movie, you're not prestige. And they get done with this crappy sequence.
Just Lady Gaga sings the classics.
Lady Gaga sings the classics not as well as she could.
Yeah, Lady Gaga... I'm going to hold that comment, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I've been talking too long. No, go away.
I'm holding it for different reasons, actually. I'm just saying, like...
You're not goo-goo for Gaga?
No, not at all. I was going to kind of just...
Really?
To bash Lady Gaga, but we can move on.
You don't want to, you didn't like their bad romance? See what I did there?
Charlie, I hope you stub your toe.
He wants to keep his poker face, Charlie.
Shane, that wasn't even funny.
Nah, Shane's on my side with this one. I'll ignore that jump in logic. Thank you, Shane.
You're welcome.
Aaron, make a Lady Gaga quote and get Brice mad. Do it now.
Do it. Get Brice mad.
Get Brice mad.
Come on, Aaron.
I don't know enough Lady Gaga songs. I know Bad Romance and Poker Face. That's it.
Yeah, those are the only two I know.
No. We can fix this. We can salvage this, Aaron. Hold on. Lady Gaga songs.
Lady Gaga songs.
Hold on. We can salvage this. Anything to get Brice a little annoyed.
Come on, Bryce. Don't be a sour candy.
You know what, Aaron?
Exactly. There you go. Oh, dude, you want what that joke gets? Applause.
Oh, dude.
Okay. This is the most
It's
boring
all
bit
coming
we've ever
together.
done on the podcast.
I'm aware.
So anyway, after the Lady Gaga tribute band came out, we obviously get more stupid little bits where he's in prison. Oh no, and everyone likes him now. Oh cool, and like, you know, the guards are like whatever. It's like it feels like we're dragging our feet here a bit because, you know, he starts telling jokes to the guards again and he gets his cigars. Yippee. And like I don't know, man. Like this whole like middle bit of the jury and like the trial and everything just feels like it drags its feet so hard because we keep having to go back to the prison where it feels like not enough is done to like justify the runtime.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, because I'm forgetting a lot of what's happening in some of these bits. But like I don't know.
Well, no,
like,
but to be fair, most of them it really did feel like filler because they bounced courtroom, prison, courtroom, prison, courtroom, prison, and they did that a number of times when I believe they could have either condensed it and made it seem like one really long trial. With how many cuts they did, they clearly left out a lot. So if they just cut trial to trial to trial, that would have been better because they had so many meaningless conversations between Harley and Joker, and there was that whole scene where the guard was like, "Hey, I said no touching," because they kept on kissing each other through the cell.
Yeah.
And so there were so many of those meaningless conversations and meaningless things and like you said, Wisp singing so many times. It really was just filler. There was nothing. Or he has the mental visions of his show that he runs with Harley, the Harley and Joker show or whatever it was.
right.
Yep, Joker and Harley.
Which again is like it's well shot, but like it doesn't need to be there, you know?
Or that whole
which really
wedding scene.
sucks. Which really sucks because I know we'll save some of that for cinematography, but it feels like this movie isn't awful looking. It looks pretty good,
Yeah.
but it feels like most of the time it doesn't matter. You know, like you're not using this like these talented lighting guys and cinematographers and directors and cameramen on something that's actually interesting. Like it sucks. But eventually we get to the point where Mr. Jonkler, why so serious himself, realizes, I'm gonna lose the trial. Or at least he thinks he is. Even though like the lawyer's telling him we can get you out of this. It just keeps saying it's like, you know, you're two people. But Joker doesn't want to do that because like he's just dumb or just doesn't have it. And we get a whole little musical sequence inside his head with Harley, and he's singing along and like beating the judge up with his big old mallet, yippity dee, and he comes back to reality. And he decides in that moment, gotta fire the lawyer. We're done. You're not. I'm not vibing with you.
Yeah.
You're done. Get out.
Yep,
Makes
you're
out with
out.
her for a bit. Lawyer, you're fired. But so, you know, he makes out with the lawyer as his parting gift because, you know, why would you want to kiss Joaquin Phoenix's ashy lips? Cool, I guess. All right. And you know, he leaves to go back to prison. Cool. And everyone like thinks he's a hero. Everyone thinks he's great. Yippee. I don't know, man. I'm blanking so hard.
They start singing When the Saints Go Marching In. That's like
That's
one of the
right.
running
Yeah.
themes.
They were
That's that
recurring
one
that.
meme song of 2024. Yeah.
And you know, like they have to keep control of the guards. Oh no.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we get that. Yippee. And we get more scenes in the trial where Joker is like, you know, dressed as the Joker this time. Cool. He's finally looking like the Joker in my Joker movie sequel. Yippee. And, you know, he starts like pretending to be a lawyer to people. And it's like, it just doesn't work, which sucks because you have the Joker on trial defending himself as his own attorney. That should be interesting. The Joker would do that. It's not a question of motivation or character authenticity or like character assassination or anything like that. It's execution, which is a lot of this movie's problems.
Oh, that's pretty much all of its problems.
And we get this, and again, there are a couple scenes in this movie that do work. The scene where like he's interviewing the shorter guy, I forgot his name, but
Puddles.
Puddles.
Puddles. Like, That is genuinely one of the best scenes in this movie. Like, Puddle's actor, I forgot his name, but he is selling this so hard. Like, it makes you kind of like believe you're in the first movie again. Like it totally kind of
good way or bad way. Like he's selling the role, or he's like
selling the role good.
Okay.
The good.
Yeah,
like this is good. At least his end is good. And then Joker doesn't have anything witty to say. He's like, yeah.
Is that your God-given name?
Yeah, he starts doing
I can't believe your name Puddles. Was your mother named Piss? And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're wasting an actor who's clearly giving it his all with not even that good of jokes. Like, what are we doing here? And like, eventually, after all of these scenes, well, first of all, lest I forget, Joker has this nice little outburst where he yells and calls all the guards fat and bad and the prison sucks, which, yeah, it does. We know. Mm-hmm. And, the guard, everything goes wrong at Arkham. Everyone's right. Everyone's like pushing back, fighting the guards, and they take the Jonkler and they throw him back in the hole after beating it up and, assaulting him. You've seen the movie. Mm-hmm. You know what it is. Like, and again.
Well, also, the one of the few important things that happens in a prison scene is during that time when Joker is laying in the hole. You don't even see it is the thing. You just see a broken Joker sitting there, lifeless, pretty much, as you hear one of Joker's friends get strangled to death by the guards.
Yeah, like his one shrimp of a friend that he made out with for a bit in like the first couple scenes, he was kind of like his friend like gets beat up too hard and dies because he's trying to like defend the Jonkler. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, so much of this movie feels like it has the payoff but no setup.
I feel there's no payoff or no setup. I just hated it all around.
But, like, I can see this, I can see this from a script analysis where it's like, I can see what they're trying to do, but, like, you just didn't set up the characters enough. Like, so many of my workshops and classes that I've submitted scripts in and my peers have submitted scripts in, we usually come back to the same point, give us a little more before you give us the payoff. And I'm sitting here watching this movie going, oh my God, I can picture this being a draft that someone submitted to workshop. It's that frustrating. Mm-hmm. And, Joker, unfortunately, gets kind of, he's in a bad place in prison after making fun, like, just, insulting the guards. And we get the last trial scene where the verdict is in or whatever, like, yippity-dee. And before the verdict is in, he gives his little speech where he's like, the Joker, it was all me. There's no other personality. It's all me. And I killed another person you're not aware of. It's like, okay. It kind of feels like he's sitting there and admitting to the audience, you shouldn't have liked the first movie. And I have a lot of complicated thoughts on that because I know I like the first movie, but I hate its fans. I think largely what this movie was trying to do was deconstruct the fan base that's surrounded around this movie. That's what it feels like to me. And you know what? I can see that. I totally get why Todd Phillips, after 5 years of people who, quite frankly, I don't think got the point of the movie, became really annoying online, pretending to be the Joker, because it resonated with them. And I'm not saying it's bad for something to resonate with you. But man, it feels like in this scene, it's just kind of insulting everyone who dared to like the first one for what it was. And I don't even like the Joker one. Like, in terms of my favorite comic movies, it doesn't even crack the top 20, maybe top 30. Like, it's not near my top list. But I'm still this insulted. And, the verdict is in. Would you believe it or not? It looks like he's gonna be guilty. And, oh no, guys. A bomb goes off in the court.
Why are you laughing, you psychopath?
People dying to a bomb.
It's the dumbest thing ever. Because, like, how I was saying, there's all payoff and no setup? This is what I mean right here. There was nothing besides one line after the fact that established there was a bomb going off in the courthouse. Let me break it down for you this way. In screenwriting class, or just basic screenwriting structure, you may have heard this before. I'm not breaking the ground here with this take. There's a term called Chekhov's gun. It comes from a book where this guy named Chekhov has a gun on his wall of the bar. The whole basic rule is that you establish the gun first and then someone gets shot. The other example is you have someone playing cards like at a table. There's a bomb that's under the table that's ready to go off. If you show the bomb first, it's more interesting because you know what's going to happen next. This is why this part of the movie fundamentally pisses me off the most, is that I think rioters bombing a courthouse is interesting. Don't take that out of context. But I think like a courthouse, like being attacked during the middle of a trial, it's nothing new, but it's interesting for this movie. And you fundamentally failed at showing me that. Aside from after the fact where you said, yeah, you said to burn it all down and we did that. And it's like, shut up. You're just covering sloppy writing. Shut up. And like,
if I may cut you off, Charlie, circling back, this is the part where Harvey Dent may be important, is you see once more in a background shot, because all the interesting stuff either happens off screen or background in this movie. You see only half of Harvey Dent's face is burned by the explosion, and it was the side that was facing the bomb.
Which is stupid, because it's not even like Harvey did anything wrong here, or made a wrong decision, or trusted the wrong guy. You could look at this whole movie and go, Harvey was in the right. Mm-hmm. And that should never happen.
Harvey's looking for the right, looking for the death penalty for a psychopath who murdered 5 people. Actually, 6, he confesses.
Yeah.
Like, usually when it comes to Harvey Dent, something happened for him to deserve this. Like, some kind of wrong decision he made, or, like, he stood up at the wrong time. Like, something. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that because he's my favorite villain. I'm pissed. I'm saying that because, from a character-building standpoint, you're punishing the character who did really nothing wrong. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then, like, he goes... Of course, Joker is fine. And he escapes the courthouse. And there's a bunch of rioting outside. Woo! And he gets in the car of a couple guys dressed up as Joker, and they give that stupid burn line that I just said. And Joker's like, I gotta get out of the car. And he gets out of the car, and he escapes the mob, and like stumbles his way to like the street where he does his dumb little dance in the first movie.
Yeah, the stairs.
Yep.
Exactly. And he finds Harley Quinn, or Lee, as she's called. Well, I'm calling her Harley. Screw off. And she's like, I don't like you anymore. I thought you were the Joker, and you're just Arthur. Wah, wah, wah. And the police show up, and he's got to go to jail. Go to jail. And he goes to jail.
He ain't getting a get out of jail free card.
No, he's not, Shane. And he goes to jail. And you want to know what happens in this jail? Do you want to know what happens? We get a couple little important bits. Because the big thing is that, he goes and the guards like looks at him funny or whatever. No words. You'd think he'd say something. No words. That's important. And Joker steps outside because like, hey, someone's visiting you or whatever. Steps outside. And we get that random guy who gave him a weird look a couple times in the movie in like the first musical sequence where he's like wisp singing to himself in his head. And he like says a dumb little quote that ends with, like, you get what you yucking deserve, and shanks him.
17 times.
And he dies.
Yeah.
And in the background...
He's cutting his face.
To look like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yep.
So...
Understand. No, Charlie, I'm gonna take this one for you. Can you tell I'm a little pissed?
I would be too.
Because
I think I know where you're going at.
Listen, The Dark Knight is my favorite movie. Heath Ledger, one of the all-time greatest performances we've seen in that movie. Heath Ledger Joker, I love so much. I've got so many collectibles. I've got so many pictures. I've got so many collectible things of that Joker because I love his performance. And they're disrespecting him by having a background character in a trash movie try and imitate him in a background shot.
And the character that's only like on screen for what, like a collective minute?
2 minutes,
Literally.
if that.
As in the entirety of the movie, he got under 2 minutes of screen time.
We are taught in film school why Joker from The Dark Knight is one of the best villains of all time. We have to deconstruct scenes with him. So can you tell I'm a little pissed? Because again, he's not my favorite Joker. He's my favorite live action one, but I have different versions of the character I like. But still, you took Heath Ledger, a man who gave you arguably one of the greatest villain performances in film history. And you did an idea. Fun fact, by the way, I learned this today. Warner's been trying to sneak this idea in different movies and projects for years, but when Christopher Nolan was still working with Warner Bros., he's always been able to shut the idea down because, hey, the whole thing was if Nolan would leave Warner if he did something stupid like that. But, they already screwed over Nolan anyway, so Nolan's gone now. He works with everyone else that's not Warner. Okay, so Warner had nothing stopping them from doing this stupid little idea. And as much as I get frustrated at Christopher Nolan because I think he's a little pretentious, he absolutely had the right idea keeping Warner off their grinding little mitts here.
Mm-hmm.
And he does, and I know, and again, I honestly thought this was Victor Zsasz for a second here, like the serial killer, like who just kills people or whatever. Like I thought it was him for a second there.
Name's
like
Sullivan. It's not even Victor Zsasz.
It's not even like a character fans would care about. It's just a guy. And that's how the movie ends.
Yep.
That's basically it.
And there's no post-credit scene to establish anything of Two-Face or this new wannabe Joker or
because this movie isn't supposed to exist.
Oh, also, wait, hold on. We skipped a scene that also shouldn't have existed. There was the scene where it was after a courtroom. Joker calls Harley and she doesn't answer. And
yeah, I ignored it because there's just more whispering, and I'm just desensitized.
Scene, Harley puts a gun to her own head while crying, and then nothing comes of it. Nothing happens. Nothing. It was wisp singing, and something that honestly I think would have made for a more interesting dynamic of if Joker had gone. Because he found out where she lived. She told him where she moved into his old apartment. So he could have gone into the apartment and found her dead, and that would have created a more interesting dynamic of, what's going on with him. It would have been more interesting than what we got, I'd say.
I agree. Because this movie really isn't supposed to exist. The first movie was supposed to be a one and done. But it made too much money, and Warner said, let's make a sequel.
Honestly, even if they did... obviously, they did choose to make a sequel. It could have been a slam dunk of a sequel.
It could have been.
They could have done so much good, but they screwed themselves over, really. Because some idiot at a board meeting said, let's make it a musical, let's add Lady Gaga, and from there, it all went downhill.
Something that it was supposed to be on Broadway or something. Sorry to interrupt, Bryce.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I saw some. It was saying that initially when they were pitching the idea for Joker 2 to put it on Broadway, and that didn't end up well, so they're like, you know what, just make the movie. And it's like, I wouldn't have made this movie in general. It's like Charlie said, a one and done. It should have been that.
Mm-hmm. It's frustrating because if you were to describe me some of the basic beats of this movie, a trial with the Joker. Harley's actually a manipulator instead of the Joker. A nice role reversal, which makes sense with context of the original world. And having it be a musical. I'm going to be that guy. I don't think having this movie being a musical is an awful idea. It's the Joker. He is a showman at the end of the day. Of course he would want to put on a musical. That makes perfect sense for his character. It's the execution.
Yeah.
They didn't give the songs enough, they put all the interesting ideas for songs in parts of the plot that fundamentally feel like filler. So it makes audiences who, by the way, Warner did an awful job at advertising this movie was a musical, because you were only able to figure that out if you went online and saw reviews or saw other people talking about it or other random news articles. Warner's marketing did an awful job at letting people know it was a musical. And I'm not saying that because, again, I'm one of the people who think it's an interesting idea. But for a lot of people who are the uninitiated who went in this movie thinking it was going to be just like the first one, they were super turned off. And now you created a whole audience of people that could have been on your side, but fundamentally aren't even going to give the idea of a superhero musical a chance again because this movie fumbled the bag so hard.
I agree, and I was sitting in the theater with my friend Jake, and he said this is the worst movie he's ever seen, and we're sitting there, and he hasn't seen the first one, and he goes, hey, In the first one, wasn't that movie where he goes around and he shoots a bunch of people and there's a bunch of riots and everything? I was like, yeah. He goes, so when's that gonna start? And we're about fourth of the way into the movie at this point. And I said, well, I hope it starts soon, because that'd be more interesting than whatever we're watching right now. And it never started. And we got one delusional courtroom scene where they showed pretty much like just two people getting killed half off screen because the judge's head was down.
Right.
So, yeah.
And before we close the book on plot, I know I kind of already established this, but the reason this movie makes me mad is not because it's the worst thing I've seen. Not even the worst thing I've seen this year. I've seen way worse.
Yeah, it is for me.
But it just feels like it had the most missed potential. It feels like if you were to lay out this plot to me, obviously there's a lot of problems, but there's something there. The idea that Joker has to answer for what he did in the first movie is kind of cool. But they did it in the worst way possible, where it felt like a lot of meandering around with nothing much accomplished. And honestly, I think some of my later thoughts we'll have to save for different segments. So, Aaron, we gotta spin that wheel.
We do have to spin that wheel. It's been quite a long, quick synopsis, but hey.
Quicker than watching the movie.
Oh!
Also more entertaining.
Yes.
Yes.
Because where else are you going to get Making Brice Mad with Lady Gaga songs? Where else are you going to get that, guys? Nowhere, that's where. Other than here. Okie dokie. All right. Up next, it is cinematography.
Charlie, take it away.
Listen, This is the one saving grace this thing has. Anyone who says this movie isn't shot like a movie is fundamentally stupid. I'm sorry. Like, you go and get it. Like, I'm going to be the one guy saying this is the thing that the movie does well. It looks good. It looks like they took the idea of the grit and, like, the grossness of the first movie and figured out a way to apply it here again, and that's great.
And to improve it.
I would say it's, like, the same quality of, like, maybe, like, the first one's a little grosser because of all the trash, which, again, like, aren't we supposed to be in a heat wave? Like, aren't supposed to be, like, a trash problem or whatever? But,
Yeah.
But... And then, like, the musical sequences. For the ones that are, like, in, like, the musical style where they're, like, God, La La Land's obviously way better than this, but, like, that kind of energy.
Exactly.
They are shot well. Like, they have the bit where, like, Joker is in the courtroom singing, like, to Harley or whatever, and it's shot really well. Like, it feels like there were people... Like, obviously, there's a lot of people who cared about this thing. And it shows in how it looks. This doesn't look like a Marvel movie. This doesn't look like it was shot on a backlot set. This doesn't feel like this thing was shot as an afterthought. This felt like people really cared. And I don't want that to get buried under the fact that most of everything else about this movie just didn't work. That's why I put this thing on the wheel. Because there were so many shots where I'm looking at going, that's really cool. I liked the way they, like, this. I think I put this as the thumbnail for this one, where, like, Joker and Harley are kissing as the flame, and, like, one side of it's green and one side of it's red. Like, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of strong visual storytelling the cinematography's trying to do that's buried under mountains and mountains of missed potential. And it pisses me off. Not because it's like, oh, you know, it was shot better than, like, Thor Love and Thunder or something like that, so that means it's a better movie. Don't hate on Chuckler. I'm saying that because I feel like a lot of people are missing that in this movie. Like, there are parts of this thing that do work, and the cinematography is one of them. That's all I have to say.
I will say, I must concede. That's the right word, right? Like, give up?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That I like the cinematography a lot, especially in the shoot. I think it's what you mentioned of the scene with the flame and they're, like, kissing. That was glorious. What I don't like about the cinematography is how all the interesting stuff happens off screen. They didn't even film the interesting stuff.
Yeah, they leave it in like Brice is saying, like, behind the scenes,
either earshot or background, or by implication, which I hate.
Yeah, that felt more like a mandate to me. I don't know.
No,
maybe in a perfect world, but.
No, I did like from the first one.
Perfect world, this movie would not have been made. There would have been no shots.
Yeah, but no, what I was saying was, I think when the part where Joker got shanked, it like there, I think I forget if it was this part or not, but where he's like grabbing his stomach and he sees Harley on the other side, like paralyzing, like how his other reality just wouldn't come to fruition, and then obviously he just dies. I liked how they did that with his whole like imagination of his own reality show, which honestly kind of it did resemble the show that he was on from the first movie where he killed Murray.
Murray.
Have you seen what's like out there, Murray? Have you?
Okay.
Okay. Have you seen what's like out there? Okay. There's a lot going on. Okay.
Does anyone else have anything to say about cinematography and funny little cameras?
About Murray.
Okay.
Without parroting too much, I mean, there was a few shots that I really liked. There's one that stood out to me. It's very short, very, very short, but it's where they close the cell door and they've got the little window on there. And Joker's in frame and like some of the lighting starts coming down a little bit, but it's all through this little window. I don't know. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
And I liked that, they kind of kept that, like you said, and this is where I don't want to start parroting, where, they try to keep it in line with, the type of filming with the first movie, like you said, the grittiness.
It feels like the same visual language.
Yeah. And I like that they did that. But then it was Joker 2. So,
a great way to ruin Arby's night. Spin that wheel.
It's over. Oh my god. Okay, let's give this bad boy a spin. Here we go. Well, I guess we can touch on the ending a bit more. Unless we...
Wait, is there anything more to touch on? Because we kind of...
I don't know. I feel Aaron and Shane have been really quiet. I feel bad.
Yeah. Just the ending was just weird. I don't like, obviously what Brice mentioned with how, with how he was like trying to, like the guy in the bag was trying to resemble the Heath Ledger Joker by like hunting his face to make the smile. I don't think this is like the whole Christopher Nolan Batman universe. I don't think it is.
The timelines don't even make sense at all.
Yeah, this is its own separate thing. I wouldn't even count it at all. That's not a good way for the Joker to die. Just in prison, shanked by a random guy, and then him taking the mantle on as Joker. It just seems bland. I think something would be better if it had like the Joker is out like in the riots and they're having like a little ceremony for him, and then someone on stage.
Here lies Joker.
Here's the real Joker. Kills him, and then it's like, now I am the Joker. You all should praise me. That's basically how it could have gone better, in my opinion.
Children of the Joker. He will be crucified in the bouncy house, as is tradition.
Yeah. Let's go with the blue man.
You all will get a little balloon animal for attending.
Oh, Stephen King.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron, we got a little sidetracked.
Yeah, we're getting a little sidetracked here, okay?
What are your big old thoughts?
Yeah, it's fine. So, it's all fine, guys. So, the ending for me, obviously this whole movie, I don't like it. And the fact that you're going to just do that, shank him, why not? Just go for it. Whew. No. Don't, why? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't like you, movie. That's really all I really have to say. It's just, I don't like that, the way that they ended it. That was stupid.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't work because it feels like Joker at least deserves a more theatrical death. And I get what they're trying to do. Like, oh, Joker, like Arthur isn't the Joker anymore. So he's not going to die with dignity. He's going to die as anyone else. And it's like, I get this is what they're trying to do. But man, it just feels like such a kick to the teeth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the fact that you're doing like a musical thing with this movie, you have this all this potential to do something neat with this if you are going to kill him off, but you're just going to go, okay, remember that cool line from the first one? There it is again.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize that, right?
Yeah. You guys
They tried to do that a couple times where they brought
yes.
in the you wouldn't get it.
You
at the
wouldn't get
beginning
it.
when he's smoking.
Yeah.
They tried to do that a couple times, and I was like, this is just not landing because this sucks.
It's just trying too hard.
And if I just kind of touch on this wasn't really a line, but music-wise,
Life should not have been in this movie.
here's the thing. If a movie has, and I was actually like kind of putting this all together because I wanted to touch on this in this episode. Think of a movie like Back to the Future. Yeah, I love Back to the Future, so that's why I'm referencing Back to the Future.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to Back to the Future. Cannot wait. It's going to be phenomenal.
Hopefully season 2.
It's going to be another Aaron Yap special, but
We need more of those.
yes. So with Back to the Future, obviously you have the iconic Back to the Future theme song. And yes, it shows up in all 3 movies. But that song was created specifically for that movie. It's a theme song. It's iconic, and you have to have it in all 3 movies. But That's Life is just a song. It came out in 1966. It's just there. And yeah, you used it in the first movie, but why are you bringing it back?
The theme of the first movie also went along with the song That's Life.
Right. There was a
The theme
point
of this
to
one
it.
has no point.
Yeah. There was a point to having that song in there, and now you're just going to throw it in there just because, I don't know, you watched the first movie, I don't like it.
It feels like because I guess we're just straight up talking about the musical sequences now, which why not?
Yeah.
And it feels like, so the term for this is a jukebox musical, which basically means, as we've kind of established, they didn't make up any of the songs originally for the movie. They took pre-existing songs and tried to weasel their way into the plot.
Sure.
They can work at times,
Yeah.
but most of the time they really don't. Like, it's a style of musical that, like, it exists, it has its fans, and they're still being made today. And it can work in some circumstances, but man, it just didn't work here. Because instead of it feeling like, to your point, where like That's Life was essential to like the themes of the first movie, it feels like it's a bad callback here. And that's what it feels like largely with most of the songs here. They didn't feel like they were picked because like they had a big significant part of the story. It just kind of felt like they were picked because like someone had looked at like popular songs from this era. This one. Okay.
Like, you just threw the Carpenters in there just because why not? And then you just have them singing, "Why do birds suddenly appear?" It's like, why?
I'd rather have Tate
I love
McRae.
that song. I'm pissed.
Yeah, Shane, I just heard one word of your sentence and I'm ignoring you. Anyways,
What do you say?
I heard the name Tate McRae and I'm choosing to ignore Shane immediately.
What?
What?
So anyways, are we just talking about the musical now? On the music?
Why not?
Okay, so screw the wheel. I hated the fact that it was a musical with 2 small exceptions. One is the prison break scene where Harley and Joker are singing together. And I would say if this movie wasn't a musical, I would have kept that in for one reason. I think the I hate to use the word vibe or aesthetic, but kind of what it shows of having 2 mentally insane people running out of a burning prison singing psychotically together. I think that is such a cool idea that they could have just done with that one scene. Like just think about it, right? Like, the song wasn't a bad choice, and you've just got 2 insane people singing to themselves as they run and try and escape out of a burning prison. I liked that. I thought it was really cool, and then they ruined it by putting way more songs in. And then also, the one song that also apparently goes against the plot of the movie is it's one of the Joker's head sequences. It's kind of, I think it's an original song, actually. I guess it would have to be. It's he's some.
I think Gaga did produce like 1 or 2 originals
There
for
were
this, yeah.
I counted 2 original songs, at least ones that I never heard. Joker singing like "There's Always the Joker in the Back of My Mind" or something like that, where he's singing to himself on a lonely stage, which I feel, if anything, was proving that has split personality disorder, as the Joker's singing to himself in his own mind about always being in the back of his mind. like that was a neat thing, and if they would have actually run with it, it would have been good. But it felt like they were contradicting themselves and stepping on their own toes too much, tripping over their own shoelaces, if you will. And then Lady Gaga's, during that stupid wedding scene in Joker's mind, where she's singing "We'll Make a Mountain" 700 times, which also still made no sense. I still want to know, what does that even mean? Because it was just unestablished, and then she just confidently says it like it was something that only her and Joker would know, her and her pudding would know. No! It made no sense!
Yeah.
And it's annoying because that sequence is really fun. And it's like one of the few times in the movie where I was like, man, this is kind of fun. Gaga's actually being allowed to sing well because, you know, that's what she's famous for. Not sucking at singing. Truly a talent. And just kidding. Gaga's a good musician. I don't want to... I like her, whatever. But good for you, Playboy. All right. But anyway. But anyway. It just sucks because it's like you're touching on previously. There's some of this that kind of works, but it's surrounded by the sludge of wisp singing and wasted time and wasted potential. And we're all just sitting here going, why?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're making my mouth, Joker.
Pretty much.
I don't know. Like, I wish the choreography was a little better. I wish it was just... I just wish there was more of a point.
What was that one, during the tap dancing song, whatever that was, where Joker just kind of, like, fell onto his knees and started, like, humping the air as his dance? Like, I'm gonna bust that one out at prom, guys. Trust me, it's gonna go over great.
Girl, I got the Joker hump. Girl, you, me, and the Joker hump.
After the part, man. Dance, the Joker hump.
Do the Joker hump. Boom,
boom, boom, boom.
If you do the Joker hump, you're bad like Brice Gustafson.
Yeah. I'm just imagining it's like a Beach Boys song.
Kokomo?
Yeah.
I'm just hip thrusting the air, absolutely railing the sky.
I gotta find a new place where the kids joke a hump. It gets around. Section the prison gets around. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know, man.
This movie is getting to our minds.
It is. It really is.
It's jonking me out.
I wish it was unmade.
So, I know we gotta get moving along here. We're gonna get moving and schmoving, but I do have just one thing to just mention with the musical thing. I mentioned in the beginning that I'm not a big musical guy. I'm just not. I'm not saying that I won't like ever watch a musical ever. I'm just saying I'm just not like they're not my go-tos.
Mm-hmm. I've tried, guys. I've tried.
Yeah, he's really tried. He has. That is not a lie. And I think we said this a few times. That this is not an awful idea, but execution-wise, it was bad. When I was sitting in that theater, I really, really wanted to go up to the projection room and say, "Hey, can you just fast forward a little bit? Can we just skip this?"
Same.
Because I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, oh, this is a 2-hour movie. And I'm going into this. It's like, it's a 2-hour movie. Okay, sure. And I'm sitting there looking at this and looking at all these little musical numbers. And there was one part where there were 3 of them within the span of 4 minutes. Just back to back, line them up, here we go. Mm-hmm. And
the gauntlet.
the trifecta. And I'm like, can we just move on, please? I'm not saying that musical numbers, because one of the problems that I have with musicals sometimes is the musical numbers that really don't add anything. They just don't. They're just like, okay, let's just stop right here, breaking the action, and let's just go into a full musical number. As kind of a, I guess like a relief. Just why not? I don't care for those. I think those are annoying, and those are the ones that make me want to. If I'm at home watching this, I'm fast forwarding through it. I'm sorry, unless it's like an iconic song or something, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna fast forward it.
You're gone.
I am. I'm gonna fast forward it, and I'm gonna get back to where we left off because this feels stupid. And when that's 90% of your movie,
you're in for a fume fest from Aaron.
You're in, yeah. This, I was honestly like, hey, I was gonna go up there and say, hey, can I just borrow this real quick? Can I take this home, put this in Premiere, and just like start chopping?
Please? I want to skip the commercials.
Like, it's what it felt like. It felt like I'm freaking watching this on TNT, but I'm not. I'm in.
Oh my gosh.
On
Watching
MTV.
it on FX where they throw in a commercial every 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm in a theater. I paid money to go sit and watch this,
Paid
and
$10 in 2 hours.
I was like, I'm gonna pay him extra for a remote so I can just skip. Can we move it along, please? Dear God.
I like the idea. There's other people in your theater, and before like you choose to skip, you have to vote like a freaking like council. Like, all right, gang, do we skip this scene? Like a Kahoot.
Like we got the UN buttons.
Yeah, you have to ask all 3 people if they want to skip the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
theater was pretty empty.
I kid you
I
not.
was
It
going to
was
go to
me,
another Joker screening and just be like, who wants to skip this part?
I kid you not. It was me, Jacob, one other couple, and some random dude sitting in the corner, and that was my theater. That was
Yeah.
all 5 of us. And
Yeah.
all 5 of us, I guarantee you, hated that movie.
Yeah, like I said earlier, my theater was packed. 90% of people left.
Yeah. But
And a
that's
lot of people are asking for refunds.
I almost did.
I should have.
Uncle saying, no refunds!
So
I'm with the
Did they
Tumblr.
really get hit with no refunds?
No refunds!
wow.
It's the Mystery Shack!
No.
Okay, I gotta save my voice now.
So the point of what I'm trying to get at is musicals. I don't like. Obviously, they're not my thing, but I will still watch it. You know, I'll give it a shot. But when those musical numbers that don't go anywhere and they're just put in there just because why not? I mean, when they start doing, like you said, with the wisp singing, those were just even worse. This goes nowhere. This does nothing. This adds nothing. Get rid of it. Stupid. Speaking of getting on with it, that's what we gotta do.
Woo!
Gotta get moving right along here. So
Moving right along. Muppets movie, the original. That's a good musical.
right,
Yes.
and that song had a reason to be in there. That had there was a reason for that. It wasn't just
it was
let's throw it in
it was
there. Why
plot.
not?
It was a good plot reason.
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyways, I hate this. That is stupid.
Flanders.
All right. Next up on the list is the cinema score / the top 10 little details on disaster is what it was called from Culture Crave.
You wanted to talk about this.
I did. So basically, cinema score. I mean, obviously, cinema score had a thing, but Culture Crave did a little post, and it was just kind of a little rundown of how this happened. So I guess just kind of go over some of these, at least the ones I think are interesting. I mentioned this a little bit before at the beginning. This is my yap time, by the way. The idea for this movie came to Phoenix in a dream.
Are you serious?
Yep, this is true.
What?
This came
Yeah.
to him in a dream, where he was basically like, okay, you know, it was Joker 2, the sequel, and let's just make it a musical. The whole thing was a musical, and maybe, just maybe, it was better in your head.
It just stayed in his head.
Yeah.
Inside thoughts.
Yeah. The Broadway show, Shane, you brought this up. Yes, it was supposed to be a Broadway show, which I actually wouldn't hate that. I think a Broadway show wouldn't be bad. That'd be kind of neat.
Can I say real quick, Aaron, before you go on?
Yeah.
I feel like if they were to remove everything about like the musical aspects, like no choreography, music, nothing, kept it serious like the first one, would have been better.
Yeah.
I feel like it would make it kind of worse. I feel like it'd make it boring.
I feel it would have made it better.
At least I remember the musical segments.
It would have been less filler, and it would have, I guarantee you, attracted a few more people of like, oh hey, well granted it wasn't really advertised as a musical, but it would have been like, you make it more serious and more dark, and I don't know, it would have fit better, so that way you don't have this flip flop of random music cut in. Oh, this poor mentally disabled guy is getting beaten half to death by these cruel guards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, Aaron, you may continue.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So Todd Phillips had free reign with Warner Brothers, wanting him to do his thing.
Mistake.
This is in quotes. Do his thing. And the film had no test screenings.
Excuse me?
This film had no test screenings. Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna fume at this.
Something that I don't think is too crazy that Lady Gaga signed on before the script was finished.
Yeah, that happens
weird.
a lot.
Yeah,
That's not...
But yeah, that's just yay. Cinema score, we mentioned this. It was a D, which is the lowest ever for a comic book film.
And fun fact, that's worse than Madam Web and my personal favorite example, Fantastic Four 2015.
Yeah, which is when, broke that.
Which, I'm sorry, that movie is way worse than this could ever dream of being. Fantastic Four 2015 is the worst movie I think that has been ever released by a major production studio, at least in my lifetime. It is not only a pure, boring movie with nothing interesting to say about those characters, but fundamentally destroyed the public's interpretation of a superhero team where Marvel Comics wouldn't exist without. The Fantastic Four are now the butt of every joke because that movie fundamentally did not work on any level.
Yeah.
It's
That
fantastic.
deserves an F. I'm sorry. That deserves a super F.
I guess.
Super F.
An F for Fantastic Four. Cannot wait for the new one, though.
No. Let's see. What else? I'm just kind of going over some
Say
of the more
that again.
interesting ones here.
It's fantastic.
So, James Gunn had no involvement in this.
I mean,
Shocking.
this was like deep in production
Shocking.
before he showed up.
Yeah. He did give notes to Todd Phillips, but guess where those went?
In the trash.
That had to be
don't
like a
listen
letter
to
from
James
St.
Gunn?
Paul to the church, bro. The gun letter.
Yeah.
You made the mistake of not listening to James Gunn, and look where that got you.
Oh, yeah. We mentioned this a little bit about the, or Charlie, you mentioned this actually, about promotions for this. The musical aspect was largely downplayed in marketing, which, yeah, that was a little misleading, false advertising, which I'm sure led to a lot of the no refunds.
Yeah.
But hey, it needed to meet 450 million globally to break even. It didn't.
Not yet.
It won't.
The studio may lose.
Maybe something will
150
change. Who
million.
knows?
Nope, it ain't gonna change.
Yeah, 150 million is what they may lose. Warner Brothers Discovery is already $40 billion in debt. Woo!
Yeah,
Which-
AT&T and the Discovery mergers just kind of destroyed them.
Yeah, it's going great.
Hell,
That's why they shut down Rooster Teeth.
It opened domestically with 37.8 million, which is lower than Morbius and the Marvels.
let's Morbius mention. Let's go.
Better movies.
Yeah. Oh, by a long shot. Morbius was at least
I left-
entertaining.
I'd rather watch Morbius than Joker 2, hands
At
down.
least I,
I've never
at
seen
least I left the
Morbius.
Marvels feeling kind of weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt weird leaving this one. I was wondering, what did I just watch?
Yeah. Christopher Nolan reportedly changed the ending of the first movie because it ended with Phoenix's Joker carving a smile.
Yeah, I was
Good.
talking about that.
Yeah. So there was there was no sequel. There was no sequel needed for this, but they did it anyway. They just because why
It made
not?
money.
Yeah, because it made money. The film had a huge budget, $200 million, including a $20 million salary for Phoenix and $12 million for Lady Gaga. That's going to be a rough time getting paid.
And the first movie was under $100 million in budget, which makes this even more insulting.
Yep.
Yes.
The first movie was under 100 million.
It was like 70 or 80.
Wow, so they had
Yeah.
a big payday then.
So those were some of the more interesting ones. The other ones are just kind of like, the film was panned by fans and critics. As of right now, has a 33 critic score and 31 audience on Rotten Tomatoes. And actually, I think I just covered all of them. So
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's time to spin that
This
wheel.
movie
Yeah,
was-
it is time to spin that wheel. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and
Ladies and
girls. We have landed on the Joker.
Okay. I know we've talked a lot about him. I feel like we've said a lot of what needs to be said, but I will mention this one thing I've been holding off on. Is the difference between a proactive and reactive character. This is pretty simple, but again, I'm using weird, goofy terms, so maybe I have not heard this before. But proactive seems what do you mean? It means the main character is making a lot of decisions that directly impact the story. Think about Spider-Man Homecoming, where Spider-Man makes the choice to hack his own spider suit so Tony Stark can't see what he's doing so he can chase down the Vulture. That is the example of a proactive character. He's largely doing something to affect his own interest to affect the plot. Then, to keep it on the Spider-Man example, a reactive character. Peter Parker in Far From Home is really just kind of stringed along by Mysterio and Nick Fury and a bunch of other guys who go fight this guy, go fight this guy. The only choice he really makes in that movie that has significant importance is giving the the glasses to Mysterio. Largely outside of that, until we get that whole part of the movie, Peter Parker isn't making nearly as many decisions, which is why a lot of people, including myself, think Far From Home is the worst of the Tom Holland trilogy. And largely it comes down to Peter feeling a little more reactive. Does that mean that movie is bad? God, no, it's pretty good. But it doesn't mean it's the same experience as watching the previous Spider-Man, where it felt like he was his own man because he was making a lot of decisions, and in No Way Home, he obviously made a lot of decisions there. Cut to the Joker. Joker 1, he was in a lot of different locations. He was making a lot of good and bad decisions. He was trying to be a comedian. He killed his mom. He killed a bunch of other people. He was making a lot of decisions. Joker 2 kind of gets strung along by his lawyer in the prison for most of it. And I'm obviously saying, plot reasons, yeah, he kind of has to. But it doesn't feel like he makes a ton of decisions until the end. Until, he fires his lawyer, becomes bad at being a lawyer, chooses to escape on his own terms, and then goes back in jail.
And gets shanked.
Yeah.
Do you see the problem? It feels like we didn't watch a main character. It feels like we watched a plot device who just got strung along from bit to bit without actually doing anything important.
Yeah. No, I
feel like that's
I agree, man. I agree 100%. It made it boring to me. I got home and the way I described it to my mom is there was no plot. There was just a bunch of filler and a couple of things that took place that all undid each other in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that I 100% agree with that. I'm not going to try and parrot you, but it was sad.
It was sad because it felt like, because I feel like we have to mention it here, this version of Arthur was really just sad, and it just kind of felt like it was the way of Phillips and the team saying, we didn't like the first one, so we're going to make him a different guy. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I get not liking that, you made a movie that people took the wrong way. I totally can get that. But, man, this is... I might call this blatant character assassination.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just not the same guy.
And if I might say, even the acting, right? The first movie you see... Joaquin put his all into that, right? And I'd say he tried. He tried for this. But even though I'd argue Joaquin did put his all into this one as well, right? He did the same thing, cigarette and an apple, that's it. But there wasn't anything to put himself into in this one, I'd say, right? Because, like you said in the first one, when you're trying to mentally get into that space of, okay, he's going to choose to kill his mom. Okay, he's going to choose to kill Murray Franklin. Okay, he's going to choose to kill these three guys in the subway. He's going to choose to bring a gun to a kid's hospital. Versus this one, how would I act if I got dragged into a choir and then I got dragged into a courtroom and then I got dragged? Like you said, you just get strung along. There's only so much that you can do, and there's only so much that Joaquin could then put his all into. So... the performance didn't even look as good. And it wasn't Joaquin's fault, because I guarantee he put his all into that.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, kind of coming off of that, with just being boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And obviously the other musical elements don't help with that. But putting those aside, this was just really boring. It's happening. They're talking. There's a lot of walking.
A lot of long walking shots.
Lot of long walking, and I'm like, okay, can we speed her up here? Can we,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, you're Christopher Walken, and you need to get Christopher running. Okay, let's go. Too much drag, and
not enough Russian.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really all I have. Because I feel like we said everything.
Yeah,
else that
no, I
needs to
think
be said
everything
about
else has
him.
been said by one of us, or if not all of us.
Yeah. Shane, did you have anything?
Nope.
Okay.
This movie was not good. Didn't like it. That's all I have to say.
All right. Let's spin the... Oh, cool. We're on the last thing on the
I
wheel.
was about to say, do we have anything left on the wheel?
Yeah, it's Holly.
Yeah.
I will start off with what I would say is my one quick positive thing. The one positive element. I really, really liked the Harley Quinn outfit that they showed her in for all of 13 seconds when she walked into the courtroom.
It was pretty cool.
The red overcoat with the puffy leggings and the black and white checkerboard like undershirt under the dress.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. If they made it anything like the first one where you have the Joker in his unique looking suit with the makeup and Harley Quinn in this, it could have been so cool if they just went around killing people.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
And this goes back to the marketing, too. Because you watch the trailer, and you see, obviously, I was in the trailer, going to show all the, those parts.
Yeah.
And you see her in this, and it's like, okay, wow. Maybe they're going to actually do something with that. Mm-hmm. Shall we check the replay on how much screen time?
She changed her outfit even. For the next scene she was in, she changed her outfit. We didn't even get to see the cool Harley outfit anymore. I was so mad.
Yeah. It's like the epitome of, it's not a phase.
It's not a phase, Joker.
It's like, why? You play this up so much in the trailer, and you play this up, and I was like, okay, wait, we were going to do something cool with this, and I was in the same boat. And then you don't.
Right.
Disappointing.
Sucked.
It's frustrating because I think the idea was there. The idea of the role reversal of Harley, the one being manipulating Joker, instead of the other way around in this abusive relationship, is really cool. Obviously it's kind of a gross thing to say in the context, but like, with decades and decades of interpretations where it feels like Joker is the one kind of pulling Harley around, the idea that Harley is pulling Joker around is novel. I'll say it. I think it's a more interesting idea than whatever Caped Crusader did with her this year. Like, at least as an idea.
Well,
but again, it all comes back to execution. And the fact of the matter is, like I was talking about with Chekhov's gun and setup and payoff, it doesn't feel like we got enough of Harley actively manipulating Joker outside of random lines that feel more nebulous than actually concrete. We established that she's not actually an inmate of Arkham. She's a psychiatrist, a doctor, whatever, who's outside, obviously not a prison mate or whatever, kind of doing this on her own accord, it seems like. She's not really answering to anyone. She's just kind of doing this to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That could be interesting. Like, what's her goal? What's her motive? Does she want to be Joker? Whatever. But it feels like we never got that scene of like her talking to someone else, being a normal person. Or it feels like we saw what Lee was as a psychiatrist. She grew up in like a rich neighborhood. Like, her dad is still alive. She's not dead. The apartment building didn't build down. You establish all of this, which can be interesting. The idea that everything that Harley's saying to him is a lie. Because this is a version of Joker that isn't mentally strong enough to manipulate someone in this way. No, obviously, if you try to play this like as straight laced as the comics do, where usually it's Joker manipulating Harley, it would be even worse. Because as a character, he's not built to do that. Mm-hmm. But then you try to do it the other way around, and I'm sorry, it feels like I didn't get enough of her for it to feel justified. It's another cool idea in here that felt like it didn't get enough time because we wasted so much of it already. And that's the thesis of this movie. It dangles interesting ideas in front of you like keys to a 2-year-old, but instead of actually doing anything with them, it feels like they're just wasting your time. That's why Harley pisses me off. Mm-hmm. Not because I thought Gaga gave a bad performance. I thought she was fine and even good in some places. Not because I thought the idea of reversing Harley manipulating Joker was stupid and bad for the... Shut up. It was an interesting idea. It just was executed in the worst way possible.
I agree.
Which is the running theme.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. Like, do we have anything else to add, or I think we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Let's say we wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts.
I hate
You've
it.
already heard it before.
Hate this
We
thing.
hated it.
Hate
I
it.
don't think it's the worst movie of the year. I don't even think it's close. I think Madam Web and Borderlands were way worse.
I enjoyed
But it is definitely the most disappointing.
Terrible.
This movie does have the distinction of being the most disappointing because this is a movie that some people wanted. People didn't want Madam Web. People didn't want, Borderlands. Well, maybe people wanted Borderlands, but it just was awful. But people wanted another good Joker movie because as much as I hate the fan base that surrounded Joker 2019, you can't deny that movie worked pretty well. It made a lot of money. It resonated with a lot of people for a reason. And then you took 5 years to make this sequel. And you come out with this. Mm-hmm. And you end it in a way where you don't even really get a redemption for it. You can't even make a third movie that redeems it. Because he's dead. So you're left with this gross feeling in your mouth that you were kind of stupid to even watch the first one. Mm-hmm. Because you watch the second one, and it just makes you feel like Joker getting shanked in that prison scene.
It feels like if you would have
just sucks.
If you would have made a post-credit scene of Joker sad walking to, just somewhere in the prison and getting shanked, it would have been more productive and it would have probably been better executed.
Nah, I still wouldn't want that scene in the first movie.
I wouldn't either, but I'm saying you could skip the whole movie.
Right. The only solace that I get from this movie is the fact that it's not connected to the new DCU coming up. James Gunn tried to fix it. His hand was shooed away, and he is basically not acknowledged this movie outside of a couple times on his Instagram and Twitter. He's kind of right back to going, look at Superman coming up in July. And man, I'm so excited to see his Superman movie. We're doing an episode on that, guaranteed. And I cannot wait to see what DC still has in store, because as much as we've been dunking on this movie, their future is still insanely bright. Their TV division is killing it right now. Penguin is amazing. It's running right now, and it's so good, and everyone should be watching it. My Adventures with Superman, Season 1 and 2, are both really good. Caped Crusader was okay, but it still leagues better than this.
I thought it was fantastic.
It feels... I've kind of switched around on it. I think it's just okay. But...
yeah.
It feels like DC is heading in a direction where we're done with the DCEU. We're done with these bad sequels, but we just had to squirt one more out.
Yeah.
And God, I wish it wasn't this one. Because this one hurt. Out of all the bad DC sequels to come out in the last 4 or 5 years, and there are quite a few, this one hurt the most. Because it really felt like this was the one that you kind of had to get right. Shazam 2... okay, it's kind of mid, whatever. Like Aquaman 2, it's goofy like the first. Wonder Woman 84, obviously bad, but hey, people still like Wonder Woman. You could make a third and figure it out. You made Joker 2, and you made this. I don't know, man. It just makes me feel bummed.
No, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want that $10.
I spent 14.
Oh, jeez.
12 for mine. Ugh. Well, 12 for me. Well, 24 in total, but yeah, you know what I mean.
No, yeah, I got you.
Inflation's hitting hard.
I can give a speech.
Yeah. Broke a yap.
Why society's fault?
Society.
Anyone else want to give their closing remarks?
I mean...
The closing statement, Your Honor.
Yeah. Is it required that I do it in the sweaty Southern lawyer?
Yeah.
That Joker tried to do.
Yeah, that was weird.
Why
too. I get it. You're trying to be an entertainer, but I don't know. That to me came across very weird and bad. Just like this whole movie. Just a quick recap on all of my things that I've said problem-wise with this. the musical segments that didn't go anywhere. They were unnecessary. It was filler, and I really, really wanted the guy in the back to just fast forward through it. A lot of this movie was really boring. I'm sitting there just wondering where this is going to go. You're walking, and there's just nothing about it. It's like keeping up with the
Kardashians.
With the Kardashians. It's like you're just watching everything happen in real time. It's let's go. Okay, this is not. And I'm not saying I have to have the, gotta have fast-paced action. It's got to be fast-paced all the time, and everything's happening right now. Yada yada yada. I'm not saying that
the movie.
ADD the movie. I'm not saying it has to be that, but there's a very fine balance, and it didn't hit. It didn't hit it. It was just, let's go, let's move along, and you're not doing that. This was bad. I don't like it, and I'm not gonna put it in my top 10 worst movies that I've ever seen in my entire life, because
it's not that bad.
Yeah, there's much worse that I've seen. This was just very. The best word for it was disappointing. It's just disappointing, because I loved the first one. I thought the first one was great, but this one, ooh man, a lot of potential here, but no.
No, I swear.
No.
I completely agree, and I swear there was a time in the theater where I reached for my remote thinking I was watching TV and then almost cried when I realized I couldn't fast forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, my closing statement is I thought it sucked. I hated the whole thing. That's that. Charlie, Shane, someone.
I said mine earlier, so...
Well, that's life, I guess.
This has been a funeral of a podcast.
That's society.
But you know what? Do you want to know what the bright side is? We get to talk about things we like going forward to this year. So that's pretty cool. Or at least things that are way more or at least bad things that are way more entertaining to talk about. So if you guys want to check those out, because we have so many more episodes in the backlog and coming up that we want you to see and listen, please check us out on all of our social medias and our podcast pages. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung for some reason, Deezer, iHeart. We are on YouTube if you want to check us out there, and we have extra content that is being uploaded on YouTube, and we got so much stuff we have in the back burner that we do need to upload and kind of edit together, and we cannot wait for you guys to see it. We are on a ton of social medias as well. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just check out the Double After Hours podcast online, and we will pop up. Anywhere you find these episodes will have all the links you will want in the description. I guarantee it, because I make those descriptions. So, hey, I'm keeping you accountable. But I don't have much else to say. Thank you guys so much for listening. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be able to yap about the Jonkler 2 Let There Be Cringe, because Lord knows it was bad. I didn't think it was... How is it the worst superhero sequel of this month? Venom 3? If you're worse than this, it's over. It's Venover.
Yeah.
If Venom 3 is worse,
we're not doing Venom,
because I loved the Venom movies.
We're not doing Venom. We're just not. I don't have a lot of words. We're just not.
For Venom 3. That's all I have to say about that.
I do love, as much as I think the Venom movies aren't good, I do love them still. But anyway. But guys, that's all I got. I've been Charlie Robinson, and I'll see y'all next time.
I'm Brice Kuskovic. Thank you all.
I'm Shane Siegel, and I'll see y'all later.
And I'm Aaron Gresser, and this movie blows.
this movie blows.
This movie blows. Come on, guys. Let's get out of here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Double After Hours podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to check out our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm Aaron Gresser, and thanks for staying after hours. This movie blows.